Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. In this series, I'll be going into CE5 initiating contact with extraterrestrials. This is a step-by-step guide throughout this series from my book with the same name. Now, I've been taking people out for around 12 years to not only see the crafts, but to help them make their own contact. And so there's many different aspects that I'll be covering in this from experience. To start off with, CE5 stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. This term was added to the original scale created by J. Allen Hynek, who worked on Project Blue Book from 1952 to 1970, the US government investigation into UFOs. The first four possible encounters include Close Encounters of the First Kind, CE1, observation of a UFO, unidentified flying object within 500 feet. Close Encounters of the Second Kind, CE2, trace evidence of a landing or physical effects are found after an experience. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, CE3, an observation takes place of humanoids, otherworldly beings that can be associated with a UFO sighting or experience. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. Now, I think this gets into the area where, don't quote me, it might have been Jacques Vallée, who worked with Hynek, who's well known for the work that he's contributed to this subject. This may have been termed by him, I'm not 100% sure, just like CE5. I'm not sure if that was created by Dr. Greer 100% either, because from memory, I vaguely remember Dr. Greer talking about somebody else who used that term, I think back in the 80s. But many people have been doing CE5, so I've just got to add that here. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. CE4, communication and or interaction takes place with humanoids, otherworldly beings, either on or off board a craft. And Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, CE5, a human or humans initiate contact with ETs, otherworldly beings, resulting in a UFO sighting experience that includes an interaction on some level with the occupants of the craft and or otherworldly beings. Now, things to consider, this is just food for thought again. Nothing is guaranteed to happen from using these tips and tools. It's not about summoning crafts, and universal peace and an open dialogue is really what this is about, and your own inner development. CE5, it's two-sided. You've got your own individual contact, and then it's taking that to another level where you're now doing it in a group of people. Going on, things to consider is creating a dialogue to get acquainted and have a relationship with the greater family of men. This can ultimately lead to connecting with your own God self and your multidimensional self/mind. So the awakening process. Everyone's on their own journey. And I think what needs to be done in a group setting, as well as just in life in general, is respect for one another's journey. People are at different stages of, we could say, their own evolutionary process. Some people are more non-physical with their perspectives and experiences, while others are more physical or need tangible proof. And I think this is where there needs to be a balance of everything. Remembering that we can only see a fraction of 0.005% of physical matter, and that's the visible light spectrum. And that there is so much unseen to us which we can't even see 99+% of it. This is where feelings, emotions, thoughts, the mind's eye, sensation, and also going into smells, hearing, tastes, spiritual seeing as well physically, as well as the mind's eye, all these senses come into play when we're talking about multidimensional mind. And so some people are going to delve into this from a nuts and bolts perspective, which is great, but you can only get so far with that. And then some people will be looking at this as a non-physical thing, and they're also able to include the nuts and bolts physical aspect, which is a byproduct. So being open-minded, coming from a place of love, these are absolute keys to contact. And the skeptical mind and the doubt and the debunker mind can sometimes shut this off, though not always. There is cases where people have been with me that are very skeptical, that are scientists, physicists, and they've experienced stuff with me at these types of events, and their outlook has been changed from it because they've experienced something, and they were in a group setting that allowed them to just chill, let go of their preconceived notions, which needs to be done, and it's opened the gate for an experience to happen. And it's not because of me, it's the group setting and the group as a collective having the intention to connect with the greater family of man. And I do say that these beings aren't to be looked up to. Again, they're the greater family of man. And they're on their own evolutionary and ascension process as well. So being in a space of respecting each other is key if doing this in a group setting. But just to live our lives in that way is key as well, I think, to a happy and joyful existence, as well as learning new things and being open and not being stuck in our own tunnel vision, so to speak. Now, we're going into clearings as well. Now, clearings are important. A lot of people delve into CE5, ghost hunting, many different things that, let's say, the intention to open that door already starts and paves the way for things to happen. So this is why I say to people, don't just open up to anything and everything. You'll be surprised what can happen if you do, and the negative things that can be a byproduct of it if not knowing how to protect yourself. Because some of these entities out there, even though they're another aspect of Source Creator, God, they can wreak havoc on you. And opening up, you can bring in, let's say, past spirits that were affected by drugs and alcohol or that haven't crossed over yet. Negative entities, demonic entities, archonic entities, parasitic thought forms. So you want positive experiences. You want experiences to help you grow, to help you expand yourself, your mind, your outlook, to evolve, to learn about other cultures, to learn about ourself mainly, because the more that you delve into this, and what I'll tell you is that the experiences are about you, no one else. Now that's where it's a little bit different with CE5, because now you're doing it in a group setting and you're initiating contact as a group. But there's still stuff that you'll take individually from that. So people want to know why they're experiencing this, why them. It's not that they're special. It's not that I'm special. It's that you're going through a journey that's opening you up to go down a spiritual path of your soul evolutionary process. And so the experiences will be about you somewhat 100% if they're individual. And so again, you've got the collective aspect of it as well, where now it's us doing it as a collective. That's what CE5 is about. Instead of just having individual experiences, now doing it in a group setting, and eventually the whole civilization will be stepping up to a new level to where this will be this common thing amongst us all. Though there is negative entities out there. If they wanted us gone, we would have been gone a long time ago. What a lot of these entities try to achieve is putting you in a lower vibratorial state to harvest that energy, which basically is a form to help them stay in existence and fuel them to keep doing what they're doing. And this ascension process is for them as well. No matter who or what you are, you go back to the Creator. And so even what I deem as the lower light, their time comes that they will eventually be back at harmony with Source in that loving, blissful state that we all are an aspect of in our original state. So I just want to go through a bit more information on clearings as well, besides what I've already said. Clearings are very important because when you open up to interact with the greater family of man, angels, ETs, inner earth beings, Gaia, nature spirits and elementals, etc., you could be opened up to anything and everything if you don't know what you're doing. You might accidentally invite undesirable beings to come in, including demonic, archonic, reptilian or lower light energies. Clearings can assist with eliminating old emotional patterns and heal the past and everything else that no longer serves us. Psychic attacks can sometimes happen out of the blue. You might think of something negative that happened years ago, and as a result, you re-experience negative emotions for hours on end. So what I'm referring to here is this is sometimes what an attack will be. People will just start thinking for 15 minutes, all of a sudden 45 minutes, an hour goes by, and you're thinking about a trauma or something that happened years ago that's triggered you. And you may have already dealt with it. But these entities, most of them, what I'll say, see you as a light being, and everything in this realm structured from light, whether they're positive at the extreme end of being positive or the extreme end of being negative. And because of that, they can read you like a book. So when they're looking at your energetic field and they're intuitively tapping into you, they can go, ooh, this might bring up a strong emotion. I'd like to feed off that energy. Ooh, this is a strong negative experience that they had happen. Let's trigger this. And what happens is you just think you're thinking it. Well, they can trigger that. Through our thoughts, we interface with all intelligences. And with the positive, you've got love, non-judgment, compassion. But if it's a service to self being, they're trying to trigger that negative event or emotion and harvest that and feed off that. So that's why I say observe your thoughts, then be the witness of you observing them. Is it really you? Is it something else? If it is something else, do a clearing. I'll continue on. In this case, a negative being or energy might have read your mind and found something they know will produce fear or frustration within you. They will try to keep you in a negative thought loop so they can feed off your energy. Sometimes they do it simply to derail you, to stop you on this evolutionary process. These are why things like this are tests. When those things happen, you're going into self-mastery and evolving your conscious state and your thoughts and your triggers and your emotions and all those things through this process. This is where I'll be going eventually after this series, which is beyond CE5. What's beyond CE5? Because CE5 is a great stepping stone to get into this and spark one's interest, but this is very serious and the implications for one's soul development and journey are huge, from going beyond CE5 into self-mastery and mastering one's thoughts, emotions, feelings, happiness and joy as we expand and broaden our horizons, so to speak. So intentions of beings, I was saying this before, you've got those that are service to others, positive. You got the trickster beings, and then you got service to self, negative beings. You'll see a blend over of the paranormal and UFOs and CE5 in this, where a lot of the same equipment's used. How psychics work with the unseen is how you interface with extraterrestrials and those beyond extraterrestrial and spirits that have passed. There's a huge blend here, and this is where the communities really need to blend together, because we could evolve and understand a lot more exponentially quick if we brought the minds from all these different genres together, including near-death experiences, quantum physics, consciousness. It is all connected. So clearing, what is a clearing? Well, clearing, we could say, is a type of prayer. It's setting the intention of anything in your environment or field to go, to be neutralized, to be released, to be healed. So you're in your own energy field running at optimal efficiency. That's the most basic way I could say that. Now, there is different processes. There is a way where you could visualize that you're in a ball of light or an armor of light and that nothing can penetrate that. For others, they'll burn sage, there's sound healing, there's many different types. But what I'm going to go into is just a basic clearing point form notes of one of the clearings that I've put out there, as well as there's a link in the description of this video to a clearing meditation that I've done, as well as the clearing by itself without the music. So clearing technique. Start by imagining yourself engulfed in white, golden, violet or blue coloured light. Use whatever coloured light you prefer. Then say words that work for you, silently or aloud. Here's an example of the words I use. And this is one of the many techniques that I use. 1. I ask that those who are in line with the healing of Earth and the awakening of humanity to connect to my consciousness. 2. I ask the native spirits in my area and Gaia Mother Earth to connect to my consciousness. I also ask for their blessing to be here. 3. I ask the nature spirits and elementals that are in alignment with me to connect to my consciousness. 4. I now ask my guides, the masters, saints, sages, and the beings I work with in my own God self to connect with my consciousness. 5. I also ask that any psychic bonds and connections that are not positive to be dissolved, along with any negative implants and attachments. 6. I ask the healing energies to step forward and assist with any physical, mental, or emotional healing I might need. 7. Let anything that is not in alignment with me be escorted by their guides to where they need to go, and let them know they do not have to exist in the state they are in, because they are loved, healed, and forgiven. Finally, blast yourself again with whatever coloured light you choose. So this is where you just visualise that you're in a ball of light. And the way I like to describe this is that your imagination is creation. We're told that it's fairy tale, but think about how many things come into existence from us imagining and having our thoughts working together in a cohesive fashion, that you think of something, you get thoughts and ideas about it, all of a sudden you're on the way to building something, creating something, making an opportunity, researching something so you can bring that into existence. This is where our thoughts interact with the field, and there's ways that you can go beyond what I just described to manifesting without even trying, except just having the spark of what you're trying to bring into existence. And once you understand that we're all one consciousness interacting with itself, this is where your life can change exponentially quick, which is really what CE5, interest in the paranormal, spirits and all that, that's what it leads to. And this is where if you go with the flow with your experiences and this evolutionary process of becoming more spiritual, more service to others, doing the inner work, everything starts to take on a life of its own, and you start to just think of things and they start to happen. The synchronicity effects start to take place. On top of this, here's just a quick clearing prayer that I came up with. And this is talking to the Lords of Light, calling upon them, which are an aspect of the Elohim as well. And my main contacts have been the Elohim. In future, I'm looking at going into more information on my experiences when I've got the time. So there's a lot out there through my books and Ascension teachings on Edge of Wonder, which is now Rise TV. There's a lot of information that I've talked about in interviews as well. But this is who I'm referring to in this prayer here that I created. I call upon the Lords of Light to take all beings to the light. Let them know they are healed and free. Blessed they are, so may it be. It's important for one to understand that when we're doing clearings, not only are we saying something, saying it verbally has an effect vibratorially through the vibrations we give off. We can see this with Michael Lee Hill's work, where 432, you can see the geometry it produces. So you're clearing the space through saying that, because positive words have a vibratorial effect. To add to that, look at Dr. Emoto's work. Writing things or thinking things with the intention has an effect, again, with the geometry we can see in water with the experiments there. But also working with the mind's eye and imagination, which is creation. You can have an effect by visualizing that you're in this beautiful colored light, that nothing that's not in line with you can penetrate this space and this energy and this light that you're surrounded in. So what you're doing is really working on 3 levels when you're doing a clearing. If you work with those 3 things, which is sound, thought, and visualization, and actually a 4th thing, intention. So say it, think it, see it in your mind's eye, and have the intention. There's now 4 layers you're really working on when clearing, that are 4 barriers that we could say extra protective layers of preventing anything getting in your space that's not in line with you. And I say it's the fruit of the information. People go, how do you know what you're interacting with is positive? Very simple. And it took a long time for me to understand this. It's the fruit of the information. Is the information helping you become a better person, be of service, bring love and joy and bliss into your life? Or is it doing the opposite of that? And is it manipulative? You've got to do this, you've got to do that. So when you're getting contact, which I'll be going into other modalities and more information on this in future episodes in this series, always look at the fruit of the information. Is it positive? Is it about you evolving, being of service to others and bringing love and joy in? Or is it the opposite? Or is it nonsensical? That's how you can tell who's who. So here's the clearing meditation. That's the image that goes with it. Links below in the description. Give it a go yourself. This is, before I go into anything else, this is what I recommend highly to play with in your own way. Use this meditation, mix it up, change it, swap it around, use it, don't use it. But if you delve into this, I 100% recommend that you do some type of clearing. So going further from this, before we wrap it up, keys to making contact. Meditation, clearings, intention, and connecting to the heart space. These 4 things are absolute keys to having results, making contact. And that is something I just want you to think about before delving any further. Be careful what you wish for, because once you get on this journey, your life will never be the same. I can tell you that. There'll be ups, there'll be downs, but it will be a evolutionary process and a development process like no other, that you would wish it no other way, so long as you stay in the heart space and keep grounded during it. Because if not, things can go awry and you don't want that. I'm basically going through this, giving you tips and tools to prevent any mishaps, limiting negative things coming through, because either way, there will be times, whether it's a negative thought or things are going downhill for you, there is a breaking of the old patterns to get into the new, and sometimes what may seem like negative things are happening are actually part of you getting to the new chapter. You have to go out with the old, in with the new. And when you hit that middle stage between the two, friends can drop away, family can think you're nuts and even drop away. The things that you used to do or places you used to go, all that can start to drop away. But what happens is, in this topsy-turvy stage, you go into a new chapter in the book and new people start to present themselves, opportunities present themselves, people that are in alignment. So this is where every aspect, your outlook on life, how you treat yourself and treat others, how you eat, exercise, all these different things come into play. And that's why really the major proof with contact is seeing how people's lives change overnight. And the same happened with me and continues after this many years to still be a process of me being inspired each day to become a better person and be of service. So even if your life seems to be upside down, this is normal for the spiritual process. Many don't speak about it. And there's many reasons for that, whether it's just people focusing on their own, their own journey, their own outlook on life. This is something that happens to everyone, is that it's out with the old, in with new in this evolutionary process, and it can be lonely at times. This is where self-mastery through the mindset is key to see a brighter and better day. So we're going to wrap it up there and just let the light shine that's inside each and every one of you beautiful beings, and I hope this has been beneficial. Blessings and thank you.